All right, so this review is all about quadratics, and we are going to use Desmos as much as possible. So I have my screen split with Desmos in a web browser. Go to Math Tools, Test Practice, choose Assessment, TEX, STAAR. Okay, make sure you're practicing with the Texas STAAR Desmos. Okay, and so if you want to answer this question using Desmos, it says, which of the following is a solution to x squared plus 11x equals negative 28? So what you can do to solve equations in Desmos, that's what it means by solution, is it means solve. So we're trying to find what x equals. What you can do is you can type the left side of the equation as y equals x squared plus 11x. And then you can type the second side as y equals negative 28. You have to put y equals in front of each side of the equal sign in order for this to work in test mode. So y equals x squared plus 11x, and then y equals negative 28. Okay, you're going to have to zoom out to see the negative 28. There it is. And then I can see my solutions. You only want the x value. So we have x equals negative 7, and we have x equals negative 4. Do not click on the vertex. We don't care about the vertex here. We just care about where these lines intersect. And so it's at x equals negative 7 and x equals negative 4 for our solutions. So x equals negative 7 or x equals 4. And so not positive 7, not negative 4, just 4 would be our answer. Okay, for the next one, what is the negative solution of the following equation? So same thing. We can type y equals 2x squared plus 4x. And then for the right side, we can type y equals 30. Okay, the reason why I'm showing you this y equals trick is because you cannot type this whole equation in Desmos. In the green Desmos, that's not test mode, you can, not for test mode. So that's why you have to use the y equals. So y equals 2x squared plus 4x, y equals 30. I click the house, and then it wants the negative solution. We're going to get two solutions. They just want the negative one, so pay attention. And so we have negative 5 as one of the solutions, and we have positive 3. And so the solutions are x equals negative 5, x equals positive 3. They wanted the negative one. And so we would type in negative 5 as our answer. Okay, number 3 says find the zeros of this function. So zeros are the same thing as x-intercepts. And so we can type this function into Desmos. You can use f of x equals 4x squared plus 8x minus 5. Okay, and then the zeros are the x-intercepts, so we see them at negative 2.5 and 0.5. If they want the fraction, you can do negative 2.5 and click the fraction symbol. That's negative 5 halves, and then 0.5, oops, is 1/2. So they may write them as ordered pairs since they're x-intercepts. So just pay attention to how they want you to write your answers. They may just want the values. Right? Given this function, which of the following approximations of x satisfy f of x? So there's no choices, so we're just going to solve where f of x equals 0. This is a fancy way of asking for the zeros. Okay, same thing. We're looking for the x-intercepts because that's where the entire function equals 0. So if this is my quadratic, we're looking for where y is 0, where the function is 0. And so you can type the function once again, f of x equals 3x squared minus 2x minus 4. And if we want to know where f of x equals 0, that's the x-axis. Let's see if it'll graph it. Okay, it does graph it right on the x-axis. And so negative 0.869 and 1.535. They said approximation, so we'll just round to these 3 decimal places. And then 1.535. That's 1, that's 2. I think that was supposed to be multiple choice. Which of the following is a factor of 3x squared minus 6x minus 45? Okay, and so you could factor this by hand, or if you're wanting to use Desmos, there's a trick we can do. So you can type in y equals 3x squared minus 6x minus 45. It's all about Desmos tricks for this. Minus 6x minus 45. And then we need to find the x-intercepts. So negative 3 and positive 5. So x equals negative 3, x equals positive 5. Now these are the solutions. Okay, and so if we were writing factors, we would have x plus 3 and x minus 5 as factors. The factors are in parentheses, and they're always the opposite sign of the solution, okay? And so if my solution is negative 3, my factor is plus 3. Always the opposite. So x plus 3 is not an option. X minus 5 is an option. Okay, so that would be our answer. Okay, which of the following expressions is equivalent? Anytime you see the word equivalent, you can type in the original expression and then type in each of these options and see which one gives you the same graph. Okay, and so I'm going to type y equals 9x squared minus 64, and then I'm going to type in y equals for each of these one at a time to see which one matches. You can do that anytime you see that word equivalent. 9x squared minus 64. Okay, so the red graph is what we're after, and we're going to see which one matches. So option A says y equals parenthesis 3x minus 8, close parenthesis, 3x plus 8. Okay, that blue graph graphed right on top of the red. That means these are the exact same graph. If I tried option B, It is not the same graph. And C and D are linear, so they're definitely not going to be the same graph. And so our answer is A. Okay, which of the following is equivalent? So we can do the exact same thing. Okay, so y equals the original. So there's our original. We're going to type y equals 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. And then the other options, I don't think you have to do y equals. I just do it just in case. So this is option A. Oops. That is not the same. Okay, so A is out. Option B has a +4. That's the same. Let's check the others just in case. So option C says 3x minus 2. And x minus 4. Not the same. And then option D is 3x plus 2. Not the same. So our answer is B. Anytime you want to know if they're equivalent, just graph them both and see which ones match. 8 says, which of the following is a factor of 2x squared minus 98? So let's see if we can graph that. 2x squared minus 98. So they want the factor this time, so we need to find the solutions. If you want, you can put the y equals in front of it. So y equals 2x squared minus 98. And we're looking for the solutions first, and then we'll take the opposite. So one solution is 7. The other solution is -7. So that means the factors are x plus 7, x minus 7. That's the opposites of the originals, which we had them both, so it doesn't really matter. And so of the options, we have x minus 7. Which of the following is a factor? So same thing. We're looking for a factor, so we need to find the solutions first. So solutions, y equals 6x squared plus 5x plus 1. Oof. Looks like there's only one. Might have to zoom in. Oh, no, there's 2. Zoom all the way in. We have 1 at -0.5. And I'll show you what to do with these decimals. And then -0.3 repeating. And put a bar, that means repeating. So to get the fraction, we're going to do -0.5. That's -1/2. And then for -0.3 repeating, you need to keep typing the 3's until the fraction option goes away and comes back. Okay, it's gone. It's back. So it's -1/3. Okay, and so our factors would technically be x plus 1/2 and x plus 1/3, but they don't use fractions in the factors. So if you have a fraction, take the bottom of whatever your fraction is and put it in front of the x. Okay, and so our actual factors would be 2x plus 1 and 3x. 2x plus 1. Leave the top, those 1s stay. Okay, and so these are our factors. They're always the opposite of your solutions. And so 2x plus 1 shows up in our options. All right, last one. What is true about the function? Well, let's type it in. F of x equals 2x squared plus x minus 6. And click the house. Okay, we see the solutions. And so we're talking about zeros. And so they are saying 2 is a 0. And that is not true. Our zeros are negative. Let me write that down. Okay, so zeros are negative 2 and 1.5. And so 2 is not one of the zeros. Okay, and then for the 1.5, let's convert that to a fraction. So 3/2. So 3/2 is a 0 and negative 2 is a 0. So 3/2, negative 2. So option B or D are in the running. C and A are out. Those are not right. Those aren't zeros. Okay, and so they're saying 3/2 is a 0 because 3x minus 2 is a factor. And they're saying x minus 2 is a 0 because x plus 2 is a factor. And so the answer is D, because your 0 and your factor always have to be opposite signs. Okay, and so if we have a negative, we want the factor to be positive. And so for the 3/2, we would do x minus 3/2 as our factor. Oops. And then remember, they don't like fractions. So they would take this 2 and put it in front. And so the actual factor would be 2x minus 3. And they said 3x minus 2. That is not correct. That one was tricky. Okay, and so for the rest of this, we're going to look at some key attributes, but I'm going to make a different video for that.